Toddlers are working through and learning, developing these regulation skills in real time, and they're looking to us. I guess he's bored with the conversation, but they're looking to us to figure out, what does this activity require in this moment? Hi everyone, welcome to Tea with the OT. I'm your host Rebecca Maddie, and we are talking all about regulation today and reviewing some new tea this month called Organic Pomegranate White Tea from Trader Joe's. Let's get steeping. So this is actually the first white tea we've had on the series. We'll see how it goes. I actually wrote down a few descriptor words this time around so that I would have something to say when I was reviewing it. So the instructions say we must steep for about 3 to 5 minutes. So I'm gonna do my best to talk for only about 3 to 5 minutes on regulation, but let me tell you, it's a really big topic. So we'll see if we go over a little bit. Okay, timer is set. This week I'm using a very fancy little beeper timer so that I can keep on track a little bit better and at least try the tea when it's ready. So timer set, let's get started. What is regulation? Regulation is our ability to manage our behavior and our emotions to get something done or get something accomplished that we want to do or that we need to do. So that can range from regulating our behavior to be able to get through our morning routine, to regulating our emotions to get through maybe a difficult confrontational conversation. And then same goes for kids. They're trying to regulate their bodies and their emotions throughout the day when they are at school or when they are playing with friends. So as adults, typically we expect to have better regulation skills than some of the kids that we interact with. However, that's not always the case. We just manage to push those feelings and things aside and ignore them for a little bit in order to get the things done that we want to, because nobody has time for that. So we're going to talk a little bit today about building your capacity for regulation versus just stomping the emotions down so that they're out of your way and you can get your things done for the day. But before we dive into that, I want to also touch a little bit on co-regulation. It's something that gets thrown around a lot when we're talking about the development of regulation in kids and parenting and that kind of thing. So co-regulation is when 2 or more people are managing their emotions together and feeding off of each other's emotions as well. So with a toddler, speaking from experience, it tends to look like he starts to reflect my emotions back at me and then we both escalate in a less than ideal scenario. However, when it is going well, co-regulation looks like I am holding space for the big emotions he is trying to manage and understand and work through. And I am able to maintain the regulation that we need for this activity so that he can then learn, like, okay, I have this big emotion. I'm going to keep working through it. And I'm going to start to reflect the actions of the person I am with, or the regulation, the emotions of the person I'm with. So when it goes well, we're able to meet each other at a place where we can get the job done that we were trying to get done. When it doesn't go so well, we escalate into a place where I am upset and frustrated and angry, and he is upset and frustrated and angry. And then we're just kind of feeding off of each other, and we've, kind of lost the goal of the situation. For example, if I'm trying to get him to brush his teeth, or at least open his mouth so I can brush his teeth, and I start to get really, really frustrated, he's gonna start to clamp down a little bit harder. If you've experienced this, let me know, because a lot of toddler parents do. toddlers are working through and learning, developing these regulation skills in real time, and they're looking to us. I guess he's bored with the conversation, but they're looking to us to figure out, what does this activity require in this moment? And if we start to become the frustration and the anger and the dysregulation that they are feeling, we're gonna both escalate. This is all said with one little caveat that I want to mention. Leaving a situation where I have co-regulated with him and we have successfully managed to work through his big feelings in that moment to get the job done that we wanted to, I don't then leave that situation completely regulated myself. So that's when, there's our 5 minutes. I'm gonna keep talking. That was much too quick, but I'll let this cool a little bit. Anyway, I don't leave that situation completely regulated. It took a lot of effort for me sometimes to stay neutral and stay with him so that he had that space. I think oftentimes we get this perspective of regulation that, we're holding space for their big emotions, we're helping them come down, and then bam, we're both down regulated, and we're happy, and we can keep smooth sailing through the rest of the day. And that's just not the case. So after we have big emotions and he has his feelings and he's moved on, that's when I have to take some time for myself and reset, basically. So we underestimate the post-event regulation that needs to happen for us parents. And that kind of transitions us into that building capacity for regulation. So being able to regulate is the skill, but in order to, make that skill stronger and, kind of flex that muscle and make that muscle stronger, we have to practice it, and we have to build capacity for it outside of those tough moments. So what I mean by that is more practice in the areas and more, what is the word I'm looking for? More activities that regulate you, and doing those outside of those tough moments. So like in the moment of me trying to get my kid to brush his teeth, I'm not gonna go do a quick 5-minute meditation and then come back to him. That's not realistic or possible. But I am gonna do a 10-minute meditation that night, because that's something I practice with my evening routine when I can get it in. I meditate to center myself, to downregulate my central nervous system, come back to my breath, and feel grounded. That's me flexing that muscle and practicing and making it bigger, so that when I am in the moment trying to get my toddler to do something I asked him to do in order to get through our routine for the day, that muscle is strengthened and I can feel grounded. Even though he's way out in the stratosphere, I'm feeling grounded and I'm able to stay grounded, or at least come back to my breath and my body when I notice myself getting escalated. So we're building a capacity, we're strengthening that regulation muscle. And in order to do that, we have to experiment and try and have trial and error of different activities that downregulate our nervous system. It's taken me several years to figure out what those activities are. So for me, I do like to meditate. It's always a guided meditation, because I have a lot of trouble shutting my brain down and actually being still. So I have a guided meditation. Max, I meditate at 10 minutes. Though that's just pretty much otherwise I start to feel really sleepy. So 10 minutes is about my max. The other way that I build my capacity for regulation is I exercise, typically in the mornings, because that's the time that it feels the most available to me. And I do different exercises. I mix cardio and strength, and that is a really grounding activity for me to feel present in my body, as well as building up my physical energy. And another way that I build my capacity for regulation is journaling. So I do 3 to 5 minutes of journaling. I try to do it daily. Whether or not it happens daily is another thing. But I know when I've had a rough couple of days, I'm like, I haven't done any of my regulation activities. Or I've only done one of the 3 big ones that do help me. The other thing that I do is I really try to have hard boundaries on my time in the evening. After my son goes to bed, it's really easy to slip into, oh, well, I'll just send a few emails, or, oh, I'll, get a little bit of work done. I really, really try to have that hard boundary. Often my energy levels hold that boundary for me, but I come, downstairs, I sit on the couch, I either watch a comfort show with my husband or I play some video games just to get my brain shut off for a few moments before I go upstairs and do my regular evening routine to get ready for bed. So those are just a few examples of ways that I regulate my system. The way that I discovered some of those, like journaling and meditation is one that's often recommended by therapists. And so I was like, I really, like, if people keep recommending it, there's got to be something to it. So I started out, I still do the guided meditations, but I started out with like a guided journal called the 6-Minute Diary. And that really helped kind of get the ball rolling for me as far as journaling goes. But the other way that I figured out what activities actually build my capacity for regulation was I sat down and I wrote a list of things that I do that are not work related and are not managing my home related. But they are things that I can lose track of time doing, that I always feel refreshed or energized afterwards. And, I don't feel energized after a 10-minute evening, sleep meditation, but I do feel centered. And so some of my other activities that I have just on the back burner, if I feel like it, are like doing puzzles, or Legos are a big, I do love doing a Lego set. So just writing down the things that you lose track of time doing, and think about when the last time you did them was. Has it been a while? What are the things that really do fill up your cup? I hesitate to use a lot of those kind of overused statements sometimes, like, you can't pour from an empty cup, you can't burn the candle at both ends, you can't, you got to put your mask on before their mask. The only reason I hesitate is because they do get overused and then I think they lose their meaning. But this is so important. Building your capacity for regulation will build your ability to co-regulate with your child and be present with them when they need you most. Okay? And then do not forget, after you go through a tough moment with your child, to take that time for yourself to then re-regulate and bring your nervous system down. Okay? So if you feel like still a little confused on a lot of these subjects, or you're like, I really want to dive deeper into what regulates me and what I can do to build my capacity, I'm actually hosting with Grounded Roots OT. We're hosting a workshop in West Salem at Cooley Health on October 9th. And we are going to be working through these exact topics, as well as taking some time to giving you the time to think through what regulates you and how you can actually incorporate that into your daily life. Because I can give you all the recommendations in the world, but if it does not fit with your lifestyle, it's not going to happen. So if you want to dive a little deeper into that, I highly recommend signing up for this event on October 9th. I will be talking about regulation. Jenna with Grounded Roots OT will be talking about getting outside as a family, building strength, building family bonds, and balancing screen time as a family. And so there's just going to be a lot of really wonderful information being shared at that workshop. So if you'd like more information about that, please let me know. It's been well over 3 to 5 minutes for my tea to steep and cool. So let's give it a quick try, and we'll see how it tastes. Okay, this one is definitely like more fruity and flowery compared to the previous one I did, the chai, which is a little more spicy. The white tea definitely gives it a more like fresh flavor, a little tart, I guess. I mean, that's the fruity part that's making it tart, but the white tea balances it really nicely and makes it a little more fresh. I've used that word a couple of times now, but I am still learning how to review these teas. I'm still a heavy coffee drinker, but tea is, making its way into my life, one episode of this channel at a time. So again, if you want to dive more into regulation, let me know, and let me know your strategies in the comments of how you regulate your body and what helps you build the capacity to be present and co-regulate with your family members. Until our next episode, I look forward to chatting with you guys. Bye.